Hello and welcome back. So today what I want to work on is some basic automation. I want to start working on the ability to create barrel upgrades for the Java barrels because we've been using them more and more lately, and Newt upgraded all these to the structural upgrade of level 5, which is obsidian. That takes an awful lot of crafting. Each level requires fence posts, each level requires either planks, iron, obsidian, it kind of goes on and on. Plus then the actual storage upgrades themselves, if we take a look at them. Let's bring this up here real quick. So if you look at, these themselves aren't that bad. They're just a bit of a pain to craft because you need constant amounts of fence posts and all that stuff. These are the ones that get kind of tedious because you need 3 storage upgrades to get times 3 upgrade. You need 3 level 3s to get a 9, 3 9s to get 27. It just kind of keeps going and going and going. But the storage upgrade itself requires a barrel and 2 pistons. So it kind of gets a little deep after a while. So all of a sudden you're sitting there and you've crafted the stack of pistons, and you come out of it with like half a stack of the low level upgrades, and by the time you get to where you need to be, you've only got 2. So it's a little tedious. So what I want to try to do is use some of these workshops to do that. Now I cleared out, or I opened up the first level basement like I did the garden area. So I sheared back the walls to kind of give us a nice open space to work with. Now what I'm thinking here is we'll start working over in this corner. The main reason that I'm choosing this corner is that's the witch farm right there. So by working in this corner, I'm close enough that it'll keep functioning, which is, good. I like that. Let's get this out of the way. We don't need to be able to see that hole right there. So we'll fix that. And can't fix it unless I have a piece of cobblestone to put in it. So we're going to go, it's on row, I need it on panel. There we go. And done. Leave that in there for now. So what we're just going to start with is I'm just going to throw this down so we can kind of start playing with it. I want to kind of spiff it up a little bit so eventually maybe get like stone bricks here and move them up. But for right now this will work. So right now we've got nothing in this one. I stripped all the ones we put outside initially when I was going to use them to create slabs because we never ended up needing it. Let's see. Let's put at least a fuel efficiency in this one. We're going to need at least, let's just go with 3, come on. Uh-oh. Whoa. That was a little bit of lag. 3 crafting tables. We've got we're going to need more auto crafters. And we'll go with all the fuel. We'll just stuff this one full and see where we end up. So for our upgrades, we need the fuel efficiencies. We need the crafting tables, then each of these. That gives us the auto crafters. Now the transfers we haven't set up yet, but what I want to do is we're going to need storage upgrades as well. So let's take a look here. We do not have any of those built yet. That's this one. Okay, so just a chest and one of those plates. Let's go get a couple chests built. Luckily, we have a ton of wood. All that clearing outside kind of left us with an overabundance for now, so we haven't needed to really worry too much about it, which is a good thing. Let's see. Now, I made up a bunch of these plates here. These are pretty easy. Just 2 planks and 2 pieces of smooth stone gives you one of these blank upgrade components. So we need 3 of these. Oops. My mouse is just not agreeing with me today. Alright, that gives us 3 of the storage upgrades. And upgrade. Alright. Oh, I keep hitting escape thinking it's going to close that, but it never does. Alright, so that gives us our storage across the bottom. So now what we want to do is over here I have a barrel that I stuffed full of cobblestone. So we will put it right here. One of the eventual goals of this is to eventually get to the point where we can craft the translocators, the item translocators, but they're a little more complicated because they require mana diamonds. So what I actually did was I moved our mana generation setup. I carved out this area right here, and I filled it full of day blooms. So hopefully that will, yeah, see, we're down to 2 now. I've been going a little crazy using them lately. I'm surprised it hasn't caused more lag, but oddly enough, the thing that's causing me lag is still the smeltery. No idea why. But I've been using them up lately to get everything kind of working the way I want it to, and I'm running out now. Let's get this done here. So we'll put it here and here, and there. So now what we need to do is fix the hole. Don't want to leave too many spawnable spaces. One of the things I did do, I think it was yesterday, is starting on floor, I want to say basement 6, I think is where he stopped clearing. When Newt was digging these down originally, he dug out the middle room. Yeah, I think it was pretty much just the middle room down to like 11 or 12. It was just he dug out, you know, you basically walk out here into the hallway and you could turn into the middle. And then the walls would be here and it would be a sealed door on all 4 sides. So what he ended up doing is he did that all the way to the bottom just to get the spacing right. Well, I went down and I opened all those up. It actually went pretty well until I got down to 11, because 11 is where a lot of our, that's like the Y10, Y11 range, and that's where a lot of the strip mining happened. So that gave us an awful lot of interesting things going on down there, like critters everywhere. And I had to be very careful while I was doing things. One thing we're going to need is we're going to need one of these. We're also going to need I don't know how. No, I don't want to put too much wood in this thing yet. There really isn't a way I've found to slow these things down once they start. What I want to do here, okay, if I remember correctly, I did some looking at the translocators. I had a lot of it wrong when I was looking at these originally. Redstone, when you apply it to it, allows it to be toggled by a redstone signal, not inverting it, which is what it looked like it did at the time. It must have just been where I was placing the filter. So by placing this little diamond nugget on here, what I should be able to do is go, nope. Every piston requires 4, or yeah, so 4. So let's just keep 16. So now if we do this, let's see if I did this right. By putting 16, no, come on, there, oh, no, not that. There you go. By putting 16 in here, what this should do is tell it that it always wants to keep 16 of the block that it's transferring in this thing at one time. So it will always attempt to keep 16 in the inventory. What we're going to do here is we're going to, let's do pistons on this bottom one here. So that'd be this crafting grid here. We want to accept input from the right side here. So 16. Now if I take one out, it fixes it. So that kind of makes it so it doesn't fill up the entire inventory slot here with cobblestone. So what I can do later is I can put a barrel here with wood in it or something like that. So that gives us that. So now what we need to do is take these here and here. Let's just pitch those. Now we're going to need some iron, some redstone, and some planks, which of course I forgot to bring down with me. For now, we'll just create a couple stacks of planks just to have in there. Well, a couple, I mean 2. We're also going to need some redstone and some iron. Oh, yeah, that mouse wheel just does not want to work very well for me today. It's missing like every 3rd roll. No idea why. This should give us enough to craft a few. So we got that. So piston needs iron, redstone, and planks. There. So that will create that. Now we don't have any fuel in here. One of the things I also would like to do eventually is get these things a lava upgrade and get some type of like ender tank fueling all of them so they just kind of keep going. For now, we'll give it that. It'll fill up and it will start crafting as many of these as it can. It'll eventually stop because these will be the limiting factor here because I've got more planks. Let's take a look here. Now we've got that, so now what we need is the ability to create barrels. Barrels is going to need logs. We're going to need logs, slabs, and chests. So for that, we're going to need another crafting station. We're going to need... Let's take a look here. Let's just grab 2 stacks of these for now. Oh, I'm not going to have enough translocators. We may just have to feed this thing off one chest. That could be a bit of a pain. Let's see. Oh, I knew I shouldn't have used up all my translocators. Because what I'd like to do is have... it must be either not accepting them. Should have cobble right here. Oh, it's using 16 at a shot, and I wonder if it considers this part of the unit's inventory. If it does, that makes sense, because it's filling these right back up. That's interesting. Alright, let's take a look. I need the ability to make planks and chests. This may not be something I end up doing a complete auto craft on. We may have to have some being a little manual. What we could easily do is just tell this one it's a it creates the or barrels. So like just do this. Let's get some chests. We could easily just do that. And then, let's get a bunch of chests made. Let's do 8. And miss that entirely. It might be easier to do it this way. I mean, I don't see us needing to produce these things all the time, but when you do make them, it's kind of useful to be able to do it. Now, one thing I want to know, okay, so I've got these 2 producing here. The left and both left sides are producing. If I come over here on the transfer and I say I want both of you to output here. So output, output. Now, what if I go to you and I tell you that's the input? Because it would be awesome if there was a way to roll it so it would automatically... These 2 are outputting, this one would input, but it doesn't look like it works that way. So what we may end up needing to do... Let's take a look here. So those definitely don't work that way. That would have been cool. Let's have them output... Okay, there's nothing on that one now, or that one. Let's have them both output to... I'll just do the top for now. Actually, no. Let's do it this way real quick here. We'll just use a hopper and have it output to the bottom. Save me 1 translocator for now. Let's do... We need iron. Okay, so we got our iron. Now we need another chest. Another chest. I already had a whole bunch of wood on me. I tried to start mapping all this out for exactly how it would fit together using translocators, because one of the things I was working on was trying to figure out a way to create a barrel storage array. In the past, I would have just used a whole bunch of like extra utilities piping, or what is it, thermal expansion, thermal conduit, I can't remember what they call it, but use that and it just would have been, it would have worked very nicely, but we don't have that, so we have to try and work around it, which so far has been rather interesting trying to figure that out. And we're missing slabs. Just make a whole bunch of them. Keep this thing busy for a few minutes. Okay, so we're gonna... Ooh. Well, that barely worked out there. Let's put our chest here. This is going to look ugly, but right now it's more of a proof of concept than anything else. So now what we need is a way to get items from here into there, which we can do by... No, don't want to take that one. If I take that one and put a hopper in there, it'll just fill it up with cobblestone and won't really get us anywhere. Let's see if there's something I can steal. So I've got these set up. I do not need that many. So we'll take this one and this one. This thing does not go fast enough to justify this currently. I put them here as kind of a safety measure just in case it managed to produce a crazy amount, but so far it hasn't. I mean, you can see we're up to a stack and 20, and it's been running. I think I cleared it out maybe 12 hours ago. So it's running consistently, but not what I would call really, really fast. So we'll steal it from there. And we'll come down here. What we should be able to do is feed that in there. Alright, so I think what we want to do, let's just nugget that thing. We want 2 pistons and 1 barrel is what we want in here at all times. So we want a barrel, piston, there we go. So now it should not, oops, no, it should never stuff this thing full. So now we've got this, we want a barrel and those, which will give us these upgrades, which once you've got these, everything else is nice and easy. But you can see this process gets a little tedious running it through over and over and over again. This is the part I'd like to have automated. The problem is making sure that it doesn't go crazy as far as output, so you don't all of a sudden burn up all your logs to create slabs when you only needed to keep like 1 slab per unit you're creating in here, which is why I think it might be better to have it, you know, feed from one unit into another, because then you can use these diamond nugget upgrades to say, no matter what, I don't want you to keep more than, you know, what was it, say 16 slabs in here at any one time, or a stack of logs or that type of thing. Because now if I put that in, it'll create a few more of them. And then the pistons, looks like we're okay, we're out of slab. Oh, we're out of oak. There we go. So now it's created 7 of them, and then it's just kind of sitting there. So if we take those, and now we've got 2 level 3s, which is perfect. So now we can come up here and we'll take a look at our witch farm. This is one of the areas where I really wanted to start working on the storage array for, because you can see, I mean, it's kind of cluttered. So we're sitting at, he's definitely got some structural upgrade, some, oh, okay, he put a 27 on this one, that one, and that one, okay. And I put a 3 on this one. Our gunpowder, actually, we filled that barrel pretty quickly, because that's the one we were storing way over there from our mining expedition. So I've used some of the glowstone, not much. I haven't really used any of the glass bottles. I was hoping you can melt them in the smeltery, but you can't. Let's see. So every once in a while what I'm doing is just kind of coming in here, you know, emptying out these 3 extras, and it's working out pretty well if we're keeping this thing from overflowing. But I'd like to have it set up that way, this ender chest, you know, emptied into an array of some kind of a storage setup. The problem is, with only the translocators to work with, I'm trying to figure out a pattern that doesn't use a crazy amount of the translocators, you know, lag causing. Especially when those translocators require mana diamonds each, which I don't really have the power to keep up with yet. That, and I'm pretty sure a whole pile of translocators in one location would start causing lag eventually, just by the little graphics they're floating around. But what we were actually thinking about doing, let's pop our map out. Way over here. I think it's this one right here. Yeah, this spot. We have a tower that comes up on this mountain right here. So what we were actually thinking about doing was building something in like this chunk here, or this, you know, somewhere up on the mountain or over here, whatever. But building something out here, because this is well outside of our render range when we're way at the base. I mean, you can see we're way down here in the south, we're way up here. If we were to build something way down there and chunk load that area, it wouldn't necessarily impact us standing here, kind of like the smeltery does when I'm doing things. Is it It just drags me down if I've got material inside of it. But that wouldn't necessarily do that because we would have such distance in between us and that thing. Another thing we were thinking about doing is slowly stockpiling a large tank of what would amount to blood, because it's one of those materials that you can kind of use as it has a neat flowing red texture to it. So to start kind of working towards that, one of the things I did was I modified the what do you call it? Furious zombies. There we go. I modified those because you can melt rotten flesh in a smeltery and get blood. A tiny amount of it, but you can get it. But what you can also do is you can damage living entities inside of the smeltery, and it will produce it as well. You just need a small amount of material inside the smeltery. So I modified the area here. We used to have a little 3x4 of slabs they'd sit on and I could shoot them. I put the blood channels there and I flowed them down into here. So now they sit here, and you can see they slowly take damage. And it builds up. The biggest problem I've had with this is you need material inside of here, or it won't hurt them. They'll just stand there. It's a spawnable space. And the biggest problem that you run into with that is the blood, whatever's on the bottom. So like if I drain the blood out, you can see that the seared stone stays there. So the blood will just build up, and it will fill this thing up really fast with those guys in there. I was experimenting with a comparator and a smeltery drain, because you can put a comparator off one of those and it will give you a signal based on the level that's in the smeltery, which was fantastic because this unit will toggle if it has a redstone signal. So like right now, if I flip that, it will only go into output mode if it has a redstone signal applied to it, which is fantastic. It's exactly what we need. So you just have it set up that way. Once this thing reaches a certain signal level, it toggles that thing. As soon as it drops below that level, the redstone signal goes away. It flips back into input mode, and it stops draining. Fantastic. I should never have a problem. You know, it should always drain. I should always have blood in there because it should never be able to completely drain. The problem is this thing doesn't seem to update very reliably. It would sit at 5 redstone signal until the tank was full, and then I would touch the piece of redstone, like pop it and put it back, like way over here on the end. All of a sudden it would go full live. This thing would go and start pumping blood out like it was supposed to, and then it would stay like that. It would drain the tank down, and we'd have back where we were before, which is with the seared stone on the bottom and the blood just building up inside of here, which didn't really do us any good. So that didn't work out very well. So right now I just kind of have that. To get this thing redstone is you just click it with a piece of redstone, right click, and it gets those little knobs, and whichever state it's in. So like right now I can manually shift this thing. I can flip it to output, and now if I turn it, it turns back to input. Basically it switches it from whatever it is to the opposite when you activate it with redstone, which is a really nice thing. Did I turn that off? I did. There we go. So you can see we're building up a decent amount in here, and one of the other neat things is when they die, they still give you their loot. So I'm still getting the hard stones, I'm still getting rotten flesh. I stood here for an hour and it filled my inventory. So you kind of have to watch out with that. Plus, once the tank fills up, you're in essence wasting that material because it's not going anywhere. So that was kind of the problem I'm trying to work out with that. I don't remember if I showed this before. It's just one of the factory or the workshops converting into blocks of flesh using a I think it has a solar panel attached to it, if I remember right. Yeah, solar panel. So it's got my little meat processing plant. It converts them, renders them all down into blocks, and I take them back to base. But this is working out really well because we wanted to use it as a decoration, because in our last base we had some like symbols carved into the floor, and you had that kind of flowing red underneath it, but it looked pretty neat. But we don't have some of the infrastructure that we used to create that here. You know, the barrels, the transfer pipes, things like that. Being able to filter the liquid output from a smeltery was perfect. You could just, oh, I only want you to take this and you're done with it. But you can't do that the way this thing is set up right now. So I'm trying to figure out a way around it. It's going a little slower than I would like. Let's go pop these on those 2 barrels over there before I forget about it again. Because I'm thinking, oh, no, shift click, and no. Oh, they don't have any upgrades on them, that's why. We need structural upgrades to hold. We need at least 3. That's going to be an iron upgrade. So, do we have any in here? We have one. So let's just apply those to them. So the first one's the wood upgrade. That'll give us a slot. So we'll do this, and then that. And now we can apply that. So now it'll hold 16,000. So that's kind of what I was looking to do. Is I want to get some type of automation for a lot of this stuff in place. Kind of like I want to be able to automate some of the food productions, because I mean you can make, where is it? Cheesecake. Nice and simple. I mean, sugar, eggs. And eggs are a bit of a pain. Flour is not that bad. Tofu, piece of cake. You know, and we've got a bit of a farm running out here, and we can produce a lot of this stuff pretty easily. I mean, we're getting spider eyes. I mean, right now we're sitting at 1,053 spider eyes. Oh, 54, 55. So you can see we got a bunch of those. We got 899 sugar. You know, so we have the materials to craft a lot of these things. I don't need something that's, you know, 100% automated. I don't care if I walk up to it and I throw food in an input chest, and you know the broken down food. So like it would need to be stock. You know, it would need to be the proper type of tofu, that type of thing. I'm not really, it doesn't need to be that good. That's why I left the system downstairs the way it was. It doesn't need to be, you know, we're not looking at an AE system here. We're just looking at something to speed up some of the tedium and reduce that a bit. So that's kind of the end goal of why I cleared that area out down there. I was hoping to put the storage array down there, but after graphing some of it out on paper, I don't think it's going to work out in a practical fashion. Weird. Why did it not? Huh. Okay, let's... No, wrong button. Let's fix that. Let's just go... I want you to keep 2 in there. And one's there. One's sitting there. Why are you not... Output to the bottom. A single piston's in there. Which shouldn't be that big a deal. We've got 21 pistons. It's doing the same thing as this. I think we need to change our numbers a little bit. Let's take a look here. Whoa, way too much. Nope. No, no, no. Okay, so left click makes the number go up, right click makes the number go down. Let's aim to keep 4 and 2. Okay, so 4. Why are these not outputting anymore? They should be outputting to the bottom. They were working. No, they don't necessarily think they were working before. Let me take a look at this and see if I can figure out what's up and why this is all messed up, and I'll be back. Alright, that was way too obvious. That is the example of what it will be creating. Not, because if I take... Yeah, you can see it goes away. Yeah, that was a little too obvious. That's why. And we don't have enough materials in here to produce any more barrels, so it's not producing barrels that are going over there. That's why it's doing that. So if we go grab some more logs and put them in here, that would work. So it's just a matter of making sure that this stays full, the materials it needs, this stays full, which isn't that big a deal. You can just kind of come in here and plop them in when you need them. Like right now, we've got more than enough. So we've got 2 more. That's interesting. It has a bit of a... Oh, that must be... Okay. Oh, I did that. Nuts. This is the one that it's going to create. This is the output bin. I just broke it. Oh well, I can fix that. It's not that big a deal. And then those go in there. There we go. Let's just get that fixed. And fixed. There we go. So this kind of gives us a little bit of a way to make those. Now, eventually I'll create something similar for like fence posts and like the structural upgrades, things like that. But I'm not in a hurry to do that. The translocators are what I'm more worried about since I'm using them so often. but that'll be something I'll start working on eventually once I'm going to use the same setup. I'm probably just going to multiply it when I start crafting it for the other units and just start working on it from there. But I know we didn't do anything, I guess you'd say, all over the place today. We did one little thing, kind of working through the logic, a little bit of talking, but that's the primary thing I wanted to get done today, was make sure that this would function. I really was hoping that I could output from here into here, but unfortunately no. I might be able to, jury rig it somehow to make it flow around, but I'll probably have to look at that, maybe put like a chest here and some translocators to have it just loop and kind of work that way. But for now this works, and I think I'm going to use a setup similar to this to start setting up auto crafters for the other things. But for now, I think we're going to call it here, and thank you for watching.